Heyo everybody, Haku here with this week's HaQ&A video where I'll be answering and responding to your questions and comments. And I have some water that I'll probably be sipping throughout the video because I just recorded my Walking Dead live reaction for the new issue. So my throat's hurting a little bit even after just that one video being recorded. I don't know, it was probably close to 20 minutes, but still. I feel like I used to record a lot more at a time and my throat wasn't hurting this much. But yeah, I still want to do this now. I want to record this now. So let's go ahead and see what's going on with the comments. And also, if there are any comments that you posted that are missing here from this week, and you add a question and I don't answer it because I don't see it here, for some reason my comments are acting like really weird, and it took me like 2 tries loading it to get what I think is all of them, because like it was only showing like some of them, but now I think I've got all of them, and I don't know why it wasn't showing them all this week. Sometimes YouTube, guys, sometimes YouTube. But I don't think I have anything special to say. Oh yeah, I pissed off probably a lot of you and pushed the Boku no Hero Academia stuff back from last weekend again. So hopefully I will finally actually be posting the next part of it this weekend, but who knows with as many times as I've pushed that stuff back. But it should be up this weekend. I want it to be up this weekend. So yeah, I think that's it. I don't think we have anything else to really talk about here. Other than like the discussion of the comments. But still, we got first up, Paul 1991ish, curveball after curveball this arc. Might drag out into next year. Yeah, I don't know. It possibly could. I don't know if I think we're more than halfway done. It's kind of hard to say though. So I don't know. It could possibly drag out in the to next year with all the stuff we have to do, but like I don't know. It could possibly. I feel like it could, but I'm not so sure that it should. Brandon Meredith said, "Your videos are relaxing to me and I don't know why. Could be your voice." And I actually thank you a ton. I'm actually pretty self-conscious about my voice. I think it sounds pretty high-pitched and nasally and annoying, so thank you. It means a lot to me. Ilham Naeem, sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, said, "Whoa, you must be exhausted, dude. Best of luck for college." And I am, or at least I was, but thanks a ton. I'm doing a little bit better this week, but full-time college, 2-3 videos a day for YouTube, and part-time work. It wears on me, but I'm enjoying it because of being able to talk with you all and put out videos and do the YouTube stuff. So I'm still very much having fun and content. Anime Watcher said, "So those are your top 5 girls determining from the thumbnail? Jaja should be on there. Now that I look at Shiliel, I can understand why you'd consider her top-tier waifu material." And yeah, I had actually saved a Jaja picture to my computer so I could use it for the thumbnail for last week's HaQ&A video. But after I squeezed up the 5 pictures, the 4 of the Tower of God girls we talked about, and 1 of Monmusu since we talked about Kira. But nah, I wouldn't even say Andrasi's in my top 5 waifu. Might upset some people for that, but like, I don't know. My number 1 is usually like a 3-way tie between Jaja, Ryun, and Albelda, and like depending on the day I could say one of those 3 is better than the other 2, but it just changes a lot. But I think Shiliel coming in, Shiliel could make it a 4-way tie. Shiliel is a pretty waifu. Metal Screech 2015 said about last week's One Piece chapter, "It's probably Lucky Roo's wedding since we didn't see him on this cover page or the last one." And yeah, that's actually a really good call. I didn't catch that, but he's really the only important member of Shanks' crew that weren't on either of those covers. So I don't know why or to whom he would be getting married. But yeah, it seems like it's a real possibility that it's his. Your boy Nick said, "Did you know one of the abilities of the Lopobia family is the ability to control humans? It's quite possible that someone from the Lopobia family used trickery to make Kaiser falter. I know this is random, but I felt I had to tell someone." And yeah, it's possible, but I highly, highly doubt it. I think Kaiser just made a mistake, and now she's paying for that mistake in an extreme way. But yeah, I don't think anybody manipulated her. I just think she done goofed. And next up we have a comment from Mike Neps. Haha, I think Andrasi's also a very smart fighter. She usually knows her enemy and can fight with their weakness in mind. She's also prepared to run away if they're stronger. Bow down to our sleeping god. He doesn't care who you are. Everyone who wakes him from his eternal slumber shall be smited equally. Just for your information, the fencing sword she's using is a rapier. It looks like an Italian hilt cup rapier from the pick. Yu Han Sung's a badass. I really hope he returns to the story at some point. And yeah, like, I think Andrasi is like the ultimate, like, she has the ultimate escape ability. Even if she can't win a fight, she can always just use Bong Bong to just teleport out of there and avoid losing, even if she can't win. And hell yes, I freaking Yu Han Sung, one of my top favorite Tower of God characters of all time. I would love beyond anything to see Yu Han Sung be back a bunch more. And then, whoa, hold on. I had a long freaking comment here. Okay, so Mike Nimp said, I don't think anybody'd mind if your video production slowed down a little. Life is busy and you can't always fit everything in without sacrificing sleep or schoolwork. I saw this topic on the Tower of God subreddit, and someone was saying they missed the betrayal or the main or semi-characters dying from part 1, and that it takes the tension out of the fights or the game, since you know that no one whose name you know will die. I kind of agree, since recently the only people who've died seem to be one-shot characters who we really don't know or are emotionally attached to. I'm not saying we need a main character dying off every week, but just following the group, it does seem like they're filled with plot armor, and I get the feeling that no one who's part of the 3 teams can really get hurt. What do you think about this? Is it getting too shown in, or do you think the death betrayal is still as good as part 1? And honestly, that's a really, really great topic, and I wrote a freaking essay pretty much. But to summarize it a bit, every single long-running series does this. You see it in, like, The Walking Dead is something that people talk about it in. Every single other thing. Things are a lot darker. There's a lot more death and betrayal towards the beginning, because towards the beginning, the author doesn't really know, or the mangaka doesn't really know, if the story is going to really catch on that well, and they have to really do what they can to get people reading. But then as we go along, like, they don't need that as much. They don't need that as much and can focus on longer term storylines. And in addition to that, the whole like arc of storytelling doesn't really work that well, because to us it seems like a lot less important characters are dying, but like Moontari and the chicken and stuff that have died recently were probably around for just about the length of time and were just as important as the people who died in Volume 1. I mean, Ho showed up a couple of times, betrayed us, and then died, and then it wasn't that, like, there wasn't even that much screen time. Ho hadn't been around for that long. If anything, I think Moontari was more developed and been around longer than that. So it's just that back then, when you're seeing all those deaths and those characters, you don't really have as big a perspective to compare it to as when people are dying now. But I don't know. And at this point in the story too, I feel like we don't really need it. The deaths and betrayals aren't really what we're doing right now. Like the story, we're like building towards the floor of death. We're in a build-up right now. This arc is training and build-up, so that we can have a bunch of deaths and a bunch of action at the floor of death. Like, bomb fighting Team Joaquin and Team Rachel showing up show us that even though after the workshop we had that time skip and all of our main characters progressed, there were still just tests and regulars that they weren't strong enough to deal with. And like Bomb and Kun, I think it was really important, because like Bomb tried to become someone like Ryun said he had to become, who could just throw people away in order to protect his friends. But then he met Boro and tried to have that relationship with Boro, but realized he couldn't throw his new friends away. He couldn't throw people away. And Bomb was also convinced the thorn that he just got at the workshop battle gave him incredible power. Yet he found out that with all that incredible power, he couldn't beat Daniel. So until he had to like overuse it and put himself at risk to be able to gain strength. And even then he failed to take down Elliot. And he couldn't protect Moontari from Elliot, which was sort of where, like, readers, we could see Bomb starting to question himself. He's like, what's the point? What's the point of being this strong and trying to protect everyone if I can't? So Bomb starts to just question himself, and I think that's more what this part of the story is about. Or like, it was brought to a head when he fought Joaquin, and he just wasn't strong enough to protect everybody. He wanted to. He had his ideals, but he wasn't strong enough to carry out those ideals. And Albelda was there to save him from the consequences from not being strong enough. So you can say that's a little plot armory, but it wasn't more about the people actually dying, like me saying actually dying, as it was showing that Bomb just wasn't strong enough to protect everybody. So now he has this insecurity about his ability, and he takes that insecurity with him when he goes through Revolution, and that turns him colder. Like, he's still a good guy, he still cares about people, but we can see with like the way he dealt with Yukon and the way he's dealing with Alphine that he's a lot colder, because he realizes that maybe he can't save everybody. He has that question going on. And Khun, we have it so that Khun keeps getting broken down throughout the Hell Train, where no matter how many times Khun wins, no matter how many people Khun outsmarts, he still can't stop Bomb from spiraling downward, from overusing the Thorn, from questioning himself, from wondering if he should just go back to being Juvial Grace. So it especially is noticeable in those two, but like with the story, we don't need a bunch of death and betrayal, because it's more about it's more about the build-up. Right now, the build-up, we have us spiraling downward, and we're right here now trying to prove ourselves to Yuri and trying to prove ourselves to ourselves so that we can go back up and have a big climactic arc where a bunch of people will probably die once again. And also, like, I don't know, I think the people complaining about deaths too are like kind of being unrealistic, because I mean, how many do we need each arc? Right there in the dollar show, 3 members of Bomb's team died, 3 to 5 members of his team had to leave because of injuries, and Wangnen's group, 4 of them left to go get Kasano and return to Horyang, so who knows how much we'll be seeing them again. So how many characters do we really need to lose each and every arc, you know? And yeah, I think pretty much to sum that up, it's just build up, and once we get to the Floor of Death, we'll probably get a bunch of important deaths there. Mike Nemps then said, that's a good way of looking at it. I know the people who died in part 1 didn't have much screen time either, but I felt like they had their backstories which connected you more to them, like Ho and Nia. Like if Daniel had died, for example, after we learned his backstory with Rowan, that would have been such an impact. Not saying we need deaths every chapter, and you're right about this leading to a big face-off on the Floor of Death. I just kind of never remember anyone who's actually died recently like I did in part 1. As for every story slowing down in deaths betrayals, that's also pretty common, and that's a reason I fell in love with Tower of God at first. All through part 1, it wasn't afraid to kill people we'd gotten to know over a few chapters, and had some really good betrayals, like Ho, Rachel, and kind of Andrasi when she kills the fisherman. But I guess nostalgia and the fact that part 1 initially drew me in had me so blown away that I could be biased. And yeah, I definitely understand. I think the way that the deaths have been written has definitely changed a lot. But yeah, because things now, like all the deaths and stuff are like, it's more oriented for like the long-term story instead of the short-term. But yeah, and me personally, I think deaths like Muntari's and Reflejos were better, in my opinion, than most of the part 1 deaths. Like, a lot of the deaths in part 1 were a little bit, I don't know, we didn't really get to, it happened so fast that we didn't really get to connect as much with the characters, whereas I felt Reflejo and Muntari had a deeper and more developed story. And Mike Demp said, yeah, I definitely liked Reflejo since we got to look into his backstory and it made us feel empathetic towards him, but Muntari I really didn't get the feels for, but I guess you don't need to be blown away by every death. Yurazuya White Bear Beppo said about One Piece, disappointed hearing that you think the Revs are scrubs. And yeah, I love Sabo, I love Ivankov, and I love Kuma, but I think that the fans of One Piece give the Revs way too much credit, especially Dragon. I've always disliked Dragon. Dragon is king of the scrubs. So, Yeah, I love Sabo, Ivankov, and Kuma, but I really dislike the revolutionaries. Diat Laman said good on last week's, or the week before last Tower of God review. Thanks, thank you. Vicky D. Luffy said, great video on my One Piece anime review. Thank you very much. And Diat Laman said also, good chapter and good review on this week's Tower of God review. So thank you very much once again. Grabbing some water right quick. Let's do this. Old Noah.0 2014 A/Z24 said, love that cliffhanger, OMG, things are getting insane. Who do you think is Kaiser's father? Me personally, I think Kaiser's father is probably just some random guy from the Grey Wolf family. I mean, I don't think it's the Lopo Bia head, since she's from like a branch family. I think she's just like some random dude from the BF or the Grey Wolf branch. Future Guy 2045 said, awesome chapter. I can feel the Kaiser versus Bomb hype. I really hope Bomb gets Kaiser's name and also manages to save Andraste and Kaiser in the process. It would be really cool if everyone, including Andraste's group, Ron's group, Kaiser and Althine, and maybe even Inietta, all join Bomb's team on the train to go to the Floor of Death. And yeah, that'd be really cool because you guys know I've talked about loving having all the characters together before. The only problem is with that many people, it could understandably get a little bit crowded. So if Ship's team and Kaiser's team both go their own separate ways for now, I'd be cool with it. And then it would leave just like Bomb's team of 11 and the 5 from Team Novik to go on the train. That's 16. That's not that bad a number. And also, we still don't even know what SIU's planning to do with Wangnan's group, if we'll end up meeting back up with them or not, because I just don't feel like they're going to be able to take Cassino and go to Horyang that easily. Ghost Emblem said about the new Pokemon info, if there is a water type Arcanine, it'll definitely have a shark fin. And yeah, that'd be cool. For some reason, when I think of like the water type Arcanine possibility, I just think it would look like a bigger, more ferocious Vaporeon. And I love Vaporeon. When I think of it, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about a water Arcanine. Mike Nemp said, let's go Ship. Sometimes I think he's even smarter than Kun, like in the door game where he figured out to open the door in 5 minutes, but Kun couldn't. Right now, I have to say, Ship's team has more of my favorite characters on it than the main team. Side note, still waiting on that betrayal since Ship wouldn't do it. And, of course, he was joking. And yeah, I agree. I love Ship so much, and I have really, since early in the series, really loved Ship. And I kind of agree, too. Like, it's bad because I'm like, if Ship's team goes their own way, I don't mind it. But then again, Ship, Hatsu, and Anak are 3 of my favorite characters. Anak is really, at least for this year's list, I said Anak was my favorite character. And she still kinda is. She has some more competition now, but Anak, I don't know. I wish we saw more of her this arc. I like Andraste as well. I freaking love Lorray, so I really like Ship's team when it comes to the characters. Ike Pavlovic said about the last 12 Beast chapter, hey man, this review and reaction was wicked. This chapter was hype. Subscribed. Thanks a ton. Welcome to the channel. Anime Watcher said, while I'm thinking of my own thoughts about this chapter, I want to ask you a question. If you had to come up with a filler chapter or arc in Tower of God, what would you come up with? I call dibs on a chapter where Anak and Ron do various competitions to prove which one's better than the other. And my answer was kind of complicated. I was like, if I could get any arc to happen, and this is an arc I think is going to happen in the main story anyway, I'd want the arc, like an arc where like Chang comes back to Bomb's team and he's like, yo, I've got Angel and Elliot here, and then Elliot takes a group of some of the more physical fighters like say Bomb, Rack, Boro, and Chang to sneak into the Bay Road in disguise and try to take down Baylord Yama in the fighting pits. And of course, since we're there, I think we'd see Vargov, I think we'd see the third Mad Dog, but I think that's going to happen at some point in the story, and I really hope it does. I really want to see us go to the Bay Road and have a Bay Road arc. And if I just had to do a filler, something that had no like real, true, hard bearing on the entire story, I would want to do something like a short challenge on a floor that just forces the characters to split up into small groups that we don't get to see interact with each other that often. Like, I think Sachi, Rian, and Kun together would be really cool, since I don't think Sachi and Kun have had nearly enough interaction with one another. And also I threw Ryun in there just because I like the dichotomy between her and Kun and how they both want what's best for Bomb, but both in really different ways. I think it'd be funny to see Boro with Jaja or Andrasi. Boro and Andrasi would be hilarious together. Or maybe Bomb with somebody like Barrow or Cherry Law / Iruro, who, like, Cherry and Barrow have, like, pretty decent relationships with, like, Rak and Yiwa or even Wangnan, but we haven't really seen them much with Bomb. Bomb with Dan would be really cool too, because Dan and Kun have a great relationship in my opinion, but we don't see him that much with Bomb. Albelda and Hatsu I also thought would be cool together, since Albelda is from the REA and Hatsu's a swordsman, but I just think that would be a nice idea, since, like, even though Bomb's team, they're all together and climbing up together, I think some of the characters need to bond more, because there are certain characters that we always see together and certain ones that we, like, pretty much never see together. Like, Rak and Yuba are together a lot, which of course I'm totally happy with because I love Rak and Yuba's relationship. And we see people like Bomb and Kun together a lot, which I like the relationship, but I do think we should see them apart a little bit more. And like Boro and Sachi are together a lot. I think that there are some characters that we just don't see interact enough, that I think we need to see the side characters other than Bomb maybe bond with each other a bit more. So yeah, I think that'd be a cool thing to do. RPG Raptor Shark said, for some reason the first Pokemon's name is Type Null. I don't know why somebody'd name a Pokemon that, but hey, weird name for a weird looking Pokemon. And yeah, I like the way Type Null looks, but I don't really quite like the name. I think it's just named that because it's an artificial Pokemon, and there might even be more coming up, like called Type something else. They have similar names, but also Type Null is the Japanese name, so I guess we may have just called it that in English because it's the same as the Japanese name. Then Pokemon Hunt just for some reason posted the description of Type Null from from Cerebi, but yeah, cool, thank you for the information. Francesco De Pietro said, oh man, sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, watched the Japanese trailer about the Pokemon trailer, and I did afterwards, and sadly I didn't record a live reaction. The Japanese trailer was way, way better. Like, it was not even close. Japanese trailer was way better than the English trailer. Oh man, sorry if I pronounced this name wrong. Satarshi Chaduri. I couldn't agree more. This episode was a complete mess about this week's Taboo Tattoo episode, and oh man, yeah, the first couple episodes of it were so good, and some of these later episodes have been so bad. It was the worst thing I've reviewed. Anime Watcher said about Tower of God, the pacing of this arc is fast compared to the other arcs. I'm hyped to see Hatsu's new sword. There's a possibility that Hatsu's new sword could bump his power up to nearly Ron and Andrasi's level. And Tyler Morgan said, I agree, I was worried we'd spend too much time at the Name Hunt Station. It seems like we'll be moving back to the train in no time. And yeah, I actually like this being a longer arc and seeing us here for a decent amount of time, but it seems like even though we've gotten so much Name Hunt Station, it's only been like 17 chapters. Like, we've done in 17 chapters what most stuff I read couldn't do in 3 times as long. So, we're getting a friggin' ton of content here. So, I like where this arc is going, and I love the pacing, because it's going fast, but I don't feel like it's rushed. So, I like this pacing. Anime Watcher also said about that Taboo Tattoo episode, I feel sorry for you. Hopefully next season you can review something better. And yeah, this show had so much potential at first, but they ruined it by rushing it so much. And also, I think, other than One Piece, the only anime I'm thinking about doing next season, or the fall season in like 2-3 weeks, is Magical Girl Raising Project, because it looks really good. I'm hyped for Magical Girl Raising Project, guys. Paul1991-ish said, now we're getting somewhere, Hatsu hype. And yes, ship hype this week, Hatsu hype this week. I'm ready to see Hatsu go all out with the new sword. Do I think he can beat Shilio? Still kind of no. I'm still gonna say no. I don't think he can, but I really want to see him try. I really want to see Lorray fight. Lorray needs to wake his ass up and go off against Shilliel. Again, do I think Lorray could win? Maybe. Lorray's pretty friggin' strong, and he's from one of the 10 families. So, maybe, but, who knows. I just want to see him fight, because I friggin' love Lorray. And then, Anime Watcher, last comment for this week, said, damn, we already got the best girl for 7th Pokemon generation from the trailer, the blonde one. I bet she's the final villain. And yeah, I could see her being the final villain. And yeah, I don't know, I like Mallow as well, but she's up there for waifu material right there. And her design for some reason reminds me so much of Kill la Kill. I don't know why. Maybe it's the pose she made, maybe it's the weird hair. Something about her reminds me of Kill la Kill. So yeah, that's all we got this week. Sorry I kind of rushed through it, but it took 25 minutes. So we had a lot of stuff to discuss, and I got off on tangents here and there, and my throat is killing me. Hang on a second. And also, sorry I'm not cutting any of this out. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, some videos I just feel like being honest with you guys and not cutting anything out and just talking with you. To be either way, yeah, that's it for this week, and I'll be back for next week's, and that's it. So, thank you once again for watching. Comment down there and tell me what anything else you want to ask, or anything. Comment anything you want, honestly, and we can talk about it. Because that's one of my favorite things about this channel, is just the way we all talk back and forth, and we have the HaQ&A videos every single week as an extra way for us to all talk back and forth. I really, really like that. And that I can just talk to you in person instead of just through the comments. And we can all talk about what everybody else talked about. And like, it works really well for us discussing really cool topics that you guys bring up. And so subscribe, I guess, for more of everything mentioned here and a bunch more. Hopefully Manmusu 45 comes out soon. Like, now that Tower of God 158, or now that The Walking Dead 158's come out, I am just waiting for Manmusu 45. I've been waiting so long. English translators, get on your shit. And that's it. So follow on Twitter if you want as well, and I'll try to keep you updated there on what I'm doing. And yeah, that's really it this time. So thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.